Danielle, Divya, welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
So we are a couple of weeks away from trial by combat. What are you guys doing in the next couple of weeks to get ready?
So, unfortunately, I haven't had a ton of downtime. It's been mostly good though. I graduated early May. Then I was lucky enough to go on a post-grad trip with some of my friends from college. So I just got back a couple days ago. I have 1 week off, and then on Monday I start my full-time job. So it's been a busy month thus far, but I'm very excited and it's all been good.
What is your full-time job?
I'm working at a law firm, Wilkie Farr and Gallagher in Manhattan. I'll be in the managing attorney's office doing trial prep, litigation stuff. So I'm super excited for that.
So did you have to explain to them that you were going to be away for a couple of days for like this weird tournament thing in Philly?
I did. I did. I don't know if they totally got it, but they were super supportive and nice. So I'm missing like 3 or 4 days in my second week of work, but luckily they were understanding. So I did tell them that.
Divya, what are you up to?
So I am actually just relaxing a little bit. I've been doing like light prep, trying to just like read some books and stuff like that, and also read books for pleasure and enjoyment because I know I'm not going to get to do that a ton once like school starts again and stuff. But other than that, a couple of people organized a scrimmage next week, so I'm doing that, which I'm excited about. But that's really been it, trying to just take it easy and relax a little bit. But yeah.
One time, when I was being interviewed for a big firm job as a law student, the lawyer who was interviewing me asked, "What was the last book you read?" And I always thought that was a good interview question, and I've always had that in the back of my mind. So I always try to have an answer to that question, whether it's true or not.
It's
So
always a school book for me because that's all I read.
yeah, that's always the actual answer. But you have to.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you have to have like a rehearsed
I know.
answer ready to go.
Do you
Um,
have like a go-to answer now when someone asks you that?
um, I I think I would probably be able to come up with something on the spot, but I don't have a good answer. I don't have like a go-to book. But that's a good point. Maybe I'll think about that.
It's
Um,
a hop. It's a hop.
yeah, that question and the other question I got asked during a law firm interview that I thought was a really good interview question was, he was like, "What do you think about the election?" And you have to like the obviously the you have to like try to say nothing for like 3 minutes,
Yeah.
which um I thought was an interesting sort of interview question, just to see how, if the person can like handle that question in like a setting where you don't know what the other person thinks, which
Right.
I thought was interesting. But in any event, that was a 2 minute that was the 2 minute interview advice corner. So Divya, what are you doing to prep for combat, if anything?
Yeah, so I've just been reading a couple of books about like trial advocacy, which have been helpful to kind of think about, what does trial practice look like outside of the world of AMTA specifically. And that's been really interesting to just see how real attorneys do it a little bit more.
Well, hang on a second. Did you read Championship Mock Trial by Justin Bernstein?
Okay, no, it's on my list though.
Wow.
Um, no, I have this like giant textbook that was recommended to me that I've been working my way through. Um, and then beyond that, the scrimmage next week, which I think will be helpful to just kind of like work. I feel like I've gotten a little rusty having not done anything related to mock in almost like, gosh, 2 months now. So it's been a nice break, but I'm excited to get back into it. But other than that, just trying to make sure I, can wrap my head around federal rules as opposed to AMTA rules, things like that. But yeah, trying to just get excited and get hyped, I think is the most important part of prep, in my opinion.
So can you announce for the world who your coaches and second chairs are gonna be?
Yeah.
So for me, my second chair is going to be Fiona Liu. She was my co-captain on A team this past year. She's the incoming president at Emory. My coach, I don't know how much of an introduction she needs, but Ria Lakaraju, obviously an alum at Emory Mock Trial as well.
So you feel a little bit of pressure, Danielle, having Ria, the last year's runner-up, as your coach.
Um, now that you say it, I guess like a little bit, definitely, but also like I don't know. Ria's just amazing, and I couldn't imagine bringing anyone else. So I'm really excited to do it with her, and hopefully I'll be able to learn from her success. Is what I'm saying.
So this is Rhea's fourth time at Trial by Combat, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Once as a second chair, twice as a competitor, now once as a coach.
Yeah.
What has Rhea told you that she has adjusted over the years, and what are you guys going to do differently this year?
That's a really interesting question. I think that Rhea obviously has such like an arsenal of knowledge about how she's prepared, how Elias prepared. That's who she second chaired for. And like what was successful for them and what was less successful. But I think what has been really helpful is that we're going in with the mindset of like what worked for them and Rhea might be completely different than what works for me. So obviously Rhea has helped me in that she's like explained the process, the scoring, like talked about her success, but also has just helped me in that like we can start from square one. We can do it completely differently than she's done it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, which I think is a really helpful mindset to have.
Divya, who is your second chair and coach?
Yeah, so my second chair is my teammate Cole Jorgensen. He is also replacing me as vice president of UC next year. We were like attorney witness paired like all year. And he was just like a really awesome like sidekick and teammate to have throughout the year. So I'm really excited to have him because I think he will be a huge support, both like in terms of, you know, getting through the work, but also the like moral support because he's a very uplifting individual, I feel like. And he's been my coach for the past 4 years, Austin LaPuma. He obviously is a UC mock trial alum as well, but he's been a phenomenal coach to me for the past several years. And so I'm really excited to have this like one last hurrah with him before I leave Cincy. So I'm really excited.
So Danielle, does Fiona witness, attorney, or both?
Fiona has done a bit of witnessing in the past, but she's primarily an attorney.
So this is not a topic we've ever talked about on the show, but Divya, I think it's interesting that you're bringing as a second chair someone who's primarily or maybe entirely a witness. Did you consider that in making the selection as to whether you wanted someone who had some attorney experience to give you advice during trial and things like that?
Yeah, so I thought about it a little bit. My first priority was I wanted to open up the opportunity to one of the younger members of my team because like 6 of the 8 people on our 8 team this year graduated. So I thought that my first priority was giving it to one of the younger members of the team, one of the upcoming underclassmen. And then beyond that, I thought about it. And one thing that when I was thinking about it was that even though Cole, he has experience attorneying, but he was mostly a witness this year. Because I closed a lot this year, especially in nationals, he would regularly come to me with ideas of like, hey, like I thought of this, or like you could theme flip this way. And so even though he's not, you know, primarily an attorney or hasn't been, he still is really, really good for brainstorming. And I also thought it would be helpful to have somebody who's stronger for witnessing for prep, just because I know that it's something that I'm not as good at. And so I'm a little bit nervous about actually having to play a witness. And also for like running material, I think he'll be a huge advantage of having that perspective of, you know, being a witness more regularly. So yeah, it wasn't like super calculated. My first priority was offering it up to one of those guys and seeing who was available. But those were the things I think will be helpful about Cole for sure.
I asked Danielle about Rhea, who was last year's runner-up, but Divya, you come from a school that has one of our recent winners, Stephen Douglas Johnson, the second or the third, the second, right?
Yes. SDJ2, as we call him. Yes.
SDJ2. Friend of the show. I consider him a personal friend. Great guy. So have you talked to him about, yes, you're shaking your head. So he was at combat twice, won the second time. What advice did Steve have for you?
So he was super helpful, I think, in just kind of talking through especially how to handle the 24-hour prep period. He gave a lot of advice of, you know, at a certain point, you have to stop. You're going to be uncomfortable with your level of preparedness, things like that. Lots of good tips as far as, you know, ideas about how to divide up the work between Austin and Cole and myself. He was the one who recommended a couple of books to read, which were super helpful just to kind of get the zoomed out big picture look at how trial advocacy works in real life.
Well, hang on a second.
Yeah.
He is a former student of Justin Bernstein. Did he recommend Championship Mock Trial?
Okay, so he didn't, but I put it on my list anyway.
Wow.
Don't let this get back to him.
I'm sure I'll never watch. Wow. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Stephen Douglas Johnson didn't learn anything from Justin those 2 years. Okay, continue. I cut you off.
No, but yeah, he did kind of give some tips about like because obviously he has the benefit of knowing Austin and my other coach Josh Lecrone's coaching style, and then also like what Justin taught him while he was at UCLA. So he kind of compared and contrast. He's like, I know Josh always writes opens like this, but Justin does it this way. Like, this is something that you should consider changing, things like that, which was super helpful to have somebody who knows my program, but also knows this tournament. And he definitely gave some good recommendations of like explaining scoring, things like that, of like, it's not about winning on every single check mark, but making sure that you're thinking about what your strengths and weaknesses are, what to prioritize, what to deprioritize, things like that. So he was a huge help. I just like bothered him with questions for like an hour and a half on Zoom a couple of weeks ago. And I'm eternally grateful that he made the time for me because he's, an actual attorney in real life. But yeah, he was super helpful for sure.
Did you guys watch The Plan?
I watched a little bit.
Danielle?
Yes, I did. I thought you said The Plan, and I was like, this is a movie I don't know, but I did.
So what did you guys think?
It was really good. And yeah, like every single person who competed, obviously I couldn't watch them all simultaneously, but I went back and I was like, I think any of these people I would be scared to hit in round. So that made me a little bit more nervous for TBC, but it was a great watch. And I think it was great that you guys did it. I loved it.
Yeah, I watched some. It was the weekend before graduation for me. So I was like trying to get in and out. And I did go back and watch a little bit as well, especially with Michael and Ben, obviously. I thought it was an excellent idea. I think the concept is phenomenal and I love it as a concept. And yeah, it definitely did freak me out a little bit. And I'm also a little bit jealous of the fact that those guys are a little bit more battle tested than we are.
That's so true. They had a practice run. Like they have a huge leg up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
That's a good point that I hadn't really considered, that you sort of get, if you win, you sort of get the opportunity to go through the prep period and stuff with your group. So did you see, understanding you probably didn't see the entire round, did you guys see the respective celebrations that Michael and Ben had on camera?
Yeah, it was so wholesome. I saw both of them, I think, and I was like, oh my God, it's so cute.
All right. Well, for the viewers at home who haven't seen them, we're gonna rewatch them real quick. So there's Ben. And there's Michael. Who had the better celebration, do you think?
I think Ben, because his background was cooler. I don't know how that correlates, but something about it it made it better. But Michael's was great too.
The hopping up and down and jumping around the room was pretty good.
It was.
Divya, do you agree?
I don't know. I feel like if it were me, I feel like I probably would have reacted more similarly to Michael. Then again, I've also been known to like cry when I get really excited about vlogs. So I don't know, but I think
it would have been awesome if Ben Wallace broke down in tears
yeah.
on camera if we announced that he won. That would have been amazing. I would have invited him back next year too, even after
post-grad competitor.
So what are your guys' plans other than reading books that are not championship mock trial for the next 2 weeks? What are your guys' plans for the next 2 weeks before you get to Philly?
I actually, as Divya said it, just ordered several textbooks to study. Yeah, as I said, I'll be working. I'm also doing a scrimmage. I'm hoping to do like memorization drills is something that I think could be helpful, because I feel like, as Divya was saying, being out of mock trial for this long, I feel like your ability to memorize quickly, and like especially with content you're unfamiliar with, it's like flown out of my brain completely. So just like exercises to keep myself in the mock trial mindset, as much as I can balance that with work, is definitely something I'll be doing.
Yeah, I feel like the only other thing that I might try to do is continue watching some other old rounds and things like that, just because it's always helpful to see what works for other people, what doesn't. Might like, sneak in a viewing of Legally Blonde or something.
You have to do that. That's perfect.
Do you guys have particular, do you guys both watch, obviously Divya does. Danielle, do you watch a lot of rounds? Are you like a video person?
Yeah, I feel like I have to tread lightly in calling myself like a round footage connoisseur because there's people who I think are really more than I am, but I do enjoy watching rounds back. We always joke in my program, like whenever we watch footage back, I feel like a problem we have is we always watch like the footage where we did really well or like our good rounds. So I think I'm a bit selective in which round footage I watch. But on the whole, I do enjoy watching round footage, yes.
That's pretty funny. You just watch the closing, you just like no comments.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, this was my best
Perfect.
round I've had, like on loop, on loop.
Do you guys have a favorite round? Whether it be
Like,
college, high school, law school, whatever.
Like that we've competed in or that we've watched?
You've seen video of.
one of my favorite rounds actually is TBC from 2 years ago. Audrey Shepherd and Sydney Gaskins. I don't know what round that
You mean
was.
Audrey and Bennett Dembski?
Yeah, that one is really good too. But there's one with Audrey and Sydney.
Oh, you mean Sonali?
No, I think I can't be wrong. I think this is a
Look,
thing.
it's possible that I'm misremembering. I'm pretty sure it was Sonali versus Sydney and Audrey versus Bennett.
Wait. You are definitely right, but there's also you can triple check me, but I'm 99% sure in the fourth round of TBC 2 years ago, Audrey Shepherd and Sydney Gaskins hit each other.
That is okay. That is true. And
That's the round.
I'm gonna cut this part out because everything before this was really funny, and I was really looking forward to editing this.
That would be so embarrassing if I was like, this is my favorite round ever, and it is.
Also, like you cannot disrespect Bennett Dempsey on this show, obviously. So no, that's a really good choice. I like that as a choice. It's obviously a fantastic round. Two, historically good competitors. Divya, do you have one?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I have the bad habit of watching like bits and pieces of rounds as I go. Like I will jump around between them. So I have to like think about what a continuous one is. I did really enjoy because I went and rewatched it last week. Last year's final round between Ben and Rhea was insane. With like the back and forth with like the props and stuff was hilarious. They both are just so good. I also think like the 2018 final round of TBC was one that I remember I watched that and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this so badly. Like this is so cool. And I love Nick Ramos's style so much. It's so different from my own, but I think he's so cool and I love listening to him talk. But yeah, I think beyond that, it's hard to say because I jump around between them a lot. Like I will watch like a cross and then I'll go watch something else. And then I'll watch like I'm bad at watching one continuous thing because I can't sit still for 3 hours. So
before I let you guys go, you know how we do it on the show before the segment ends. It's prediction time. And you know the rules. You may not pick each other. And as I told Sam Farnsworth, I'm going to amend the rules to allow you guys to pick yourselves if you're that confident. Who is going to win Trial by Combat 2023 in Philadelphia in 2 weeks?
Mine, I don't know how novel this is, but Rhea Debnoth is my prediction.
Why Rhea? Because she has the same name as your coach?
Yeah, that was exactly. I don't know how you figured that. I'm kidding, obviously. I remember seeing her in the Rookie Rumble final last summer, and we haven't hit UCLA a ton of times. So I remember seeing, and I was like, who is this girl? She's amazing. Oh my gosh. And then that was obviously only further confirmed by this year's final. I think she's so good individually, and she's obviously had a plethora of team success. So I could definitely see her pulling it out.
Divya?
yeah, I mean, I feel like Rhea's an obvious answer, and I feel like the recency bias of everything that she pulled off in the final round makes her an easy choice. But the other person that I would think is, and maybe it's just because I'm like obsessed with her style, but I have like a mock trial crush on Elena Young. Like she is so stylistically clean and polished, but comes off so natural and genuine. We got to go against UCSB in the first round of NCT, and it was because like at NCT, like the courtrooms were set up such that the trial teams were literally like squished next to each other. which was a little bit awkward, but I was right next to Elena. And so I was, literally shoulder to shoulder with her for the entire round. And everything she did was so polished. She came across so confident, but so calm. And I could just see her doing really well in this format. And I think she's going to do really well.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. And if you guys make a mistake in the round, I'm going to pull out championship mock trial and cite the page in line that would have taught you the answer to that question.
Oh God, I really feel like I have to order these books now, Divya. Maybe you can send me the links.
Well, they're all on Amazon.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. I'll bring my books to TBC and we'll be good.
There's still time.
Yeah.
See you guys in 2 weeks. So fast forwarding to that round to 16. So as we know, Rahul takes the win in 15. How difficult of a decision was it for both of you to come back?
I mean, it was difficult for whether to come back or not was not difficult. The difficult decision for me was, so my part of my 3L year was Nick Crown, who's incredible. I mean, he is one of the best competitors I've ever seen. And he and I like really wrestled with whether I should go back and compete again or whether Nick should compete again, because Nick is awesome and deserved the chance to compete. And he, so like, I offered to him like, hey man, I had a shot at this. If you want it, you should take this one. And Nick is not only an awesome competitor, but a grade A human being. It was like, look, man, like you're not going to be happy if you had one chance and you didn't get it. And I think you can get it if we do it again. So let's do it again. We'll both go together and I'll be your second chair. Like, Nick's a great friend and can't thank him enough for doing that. And, so that was the only tough decision, is whether it would be Nick or me. And, obviously glad I went and glad I won, but I would have been honored to be Nick's second chair too.
Or did you catch wind of the fact that Ellie was going to come with me in 17 and you kicked her to the curb?
Yeah, no, I think Ellie, so like the year before, my partner was a guy named Ben Graham who couldn't come for whatever reason. And Yale was cool about Ellie coming one time. And then I think they were like, it's kind of the same thing that Drexel did to you. Like, who is this person and why are they coming? And then, like Nick and I had such an awesome time my 3L year. And, he was such a great partner, and it was awesome to be able to go with him. Like, the few things can measure up to being co-counsel with your sibling. And Nick being one of my best friends, getting to be co-counsel with him was very close to being co-counsel with Ellie, which is as high a compliment as I can offer somebody.
So you avoided any like awkward conversations at the next holiday with you and Ellie? Like, it was, you could totally blame it on Yale, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and Ellie was like, well, you lost last time. Like, why would I come back to support you? Yeah, you're a bum. Yeah.
Right. That was more it. So Rahul, I would guess it was maybe even harder for you because you have a lot to lose and not a ton to gain. I mean, a lot to gain, obviously, but a ton to lose. How did that decision go?
I think it was easy to make the decision to compete, not because of any desire, I think, to like defend the title or anything, but more because I was graduating and it felt like my last chance to do mock trial and to do it with Justin. So in that sense, it was an easy decision to make, one last hurrah, so to speak. And it would have been great. We went into it wanting to make the final round again, of course, and wanting to defend the title and to give it 100%. But I think even the chance to do one more tournament was what we wanted.
So you came back with your coaches also. You came back with Ryan and Justin, respectively.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The viewers at home are going to kill me if I don't ask you guys to tell me what it's like working with them.
I mean, look, like, I don't even sniff the finals either of these 2 years without Faulkner. Like, that, I feel very, very comfortable saying that. He is just like such a gifted mind in general, and mock trial mind in particular. Like, he sees the case so quickly and so clearly, and that in this competition in particular is desperately needed. because you got to put the pieces together, on this incredibly short timeline. And, we'd also, probably the same for you guys, Rahul, but like, we just knew each other so well at that point, like knew sort of what my style was. And Ryan was like, oh, you're like, we could write across this way, but like, you're not going to want to give it that way. So I'm not even going to pitch it. Like here's what I would do on that cross. And we'd sit down and write it. So it was having that level of familiarity with each other from him having coached me for years already was so nice.
For sure. I mean, there's no chance I think make the finals without Justin. Frankly, I don't know if I tell him this enough. I think I credit a lot of my personal success to having Justin as a coach and mentor. I mean, I met him when I was 18 and he was a coach at Irvine. Everything from like law school advice to, studying for the LSAT. So a lot of it came from Justin. So yeah, the familiarity was key, but also the fact that I trusted Justin, I think so much. I guess this is me saying thank you, Justin, if you're going to watch this. You're a key part of my life, I think. And for sure, without Justin, I'm not getting close to the finals.
Justin B's the #1 fan of WatchMock, right?
Yeah, I sounds like it.
He's not going to watch this. He hasn't even been on the show yet. I'm going to look right into the camera. You haven't come on the show. You're a coward until you come on the show.
This is the WatchMock equivalent to Rahul slapping the paper on the bench.
All right. So it's really strange. I hadn't thought of this until you just said it. I guess both of you had coaches who had no affiliation with your law schools. How was that talking to the administration? Were they just like, who is this adult man traveling with our student? Kind of strange. Did they like bat an eye at that at all?
No. So we, like the beauty of being an uncoached program is that like we just do whatever we wanted. I mean, we had to ask them to pay for it, and was nice enough to agree to pay for it. What helped me a little bit was that guy I mentioned earlier, Dan Young, who was a UVA competitor as well, an undergrad. Faulkner had gone with him, so I could say like, look, you've actually done this before. Faulkner went with Dan. He knows both of us. Like Faulkner was helpful in getting Dan to the finals. He would be helpful to me too. And so it was a pretty easy sell in that sense.
Yeah, same. I mean, we were uncoached too, so I think there was no one to fill the role if it wasn't for Justin. That made it very simple.
Justin,
I'm trying to imagine pitching to like a Yale law professor. Hey, do you want to stay up all night with me 2-3 nights in a row? I don't think I would have had any takers.
Yeah.
Justin B, the ultimate mercenary coach, gone with 4 different law schools at this point.
Right?
In the final with 3 different law schools. Kind of nuts. But we are going to watch the direct examination from 16 of the 7-year-old eyewitness. And I think this is maybe people's favorite part from either year. If you ask most people, this is certainly the top 2 or 3. So
my wife is pumping her arms in the background because this is her favorite part.
It is so cool. I mean, it is to get, I think it was one of the professor's daughters was the witness, and just the fact, I mean, it just shows how awesome the tournament is, I think, to get her to actually testify in the final round. A highlight for sure, even looking back on it, was in the strategy. We weren't going to cross her at all, I think. Because
so at what point in time did you guys find out that witness was going to be live?
I think like 20 minutes before. I met her like literally like 5 minutes before the round. And you would shed these witnesses. So if people who've only done AMDA haven't done law school mock trial yet, you like talk to the witness very briefly before the round. That's the only interaction you have with the witness. And normally a woodshed is like, okay, so like here's sort of the meta strategy of our case, and like here's what we're trying to get out of you. And this woodshed was like, I just want to get you to be comfortable with me, because like this is going to be you've probably never done anything like this before, and it's going to be a weird situation for you. So like I just want you to feel like I'm a person you can talk to and get to know each other a little bit, and like we'll worry about all the case stuff when we actually get into the round.
Did you have to call her? Was that the rule?
I don't know. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think so. I think it was like you have to call. It was one of the only set witness, I think, was you had to call her, and we didn't have to cross her, I think. But
I'll tell you what though, like the second I met that girl, I was like, 100%. If I had an option not to call her, I would have thrown that option out right away. Because as soon as I met her, I was like, she's awesome. She's going to be awesome. The jury's going to love her. Like, I was very excited to direct her.
So how much conversation do you have with Ryan before you woodshed her in terms of the way this is going? You guys, we'll see in a second. You make a bunch of choices that are different given the witness, but how much conversation do you have with Ryan about strategy?
Virtually none. I just remember, I don't know, like now, especially having a young daughter, like, I just remember feeling sort of like in my element in this moment. Like, I was excited to put a kid witness on. I was excited once I met her to do the direct, because I thought she was, an extraordinary young woman. And like, it was mostly feel. Like, we didn't really plan a lot of it. And she was great, and she gets all the credit for how well the direct went.
Rahul, when did you guys write the cross?
Yeah, I mean, minutes before the round started, I think we found out. And we weren't sure we were going to cross her, and I think we had a conversation, strategy wise, about whether we, ask her anything at all, because especially I think Justin recognized maybe better than I did that sometimes I get aggressive with my cross, and that's just not a strategy you want to take with a kid on the stand. So I think we had that conversation, and then we planned a couple of questions that we would do if we thought it was necessary, and also depending on if we thought Ben was going to call other witnesses, because there is a cross check mark,
right.
Finding an opportunity to do something to reflect on that was important.
All right. Got any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. Before I call our third witness, can I ask for a quick time update?
Oh, sure.
So while you get your time update, have you guys seen this round back?
I've never watched this one.
No, me neither.
Crazy.
Your Honor, the government calls Kate Counsellor to the stand.
Okay.
And while she takes the stand, Your Honor,
we're going to have that hearing outside the presence of the jury. This is a witness.
Yes, Your Honor. We would object. Not this is a separate issue than the one raised in limine.
Okay.
We object to this witness testifying under both Rule 601 and Rule 403.
Okay.
Would you like us to explain the basis of our motion, Your Honor?
Sure.
Under Rule 601, Your Honor, a
This
witness
judge was
must be
really good.
competent
I remember
to testify.
the judges in both rounds. I think they were both federal district court judges, and I remember both of them were excellent. This guy had just a little bit more to do evidence wise, because there were some actual evidentiary issues in this trial, whereas, like you said in the last one, Phil, there were virtually no objections.
Yeah, there were a little bit more in this year, but I thought he managed the trial really well, and he was also fun, which made the round more replay value.
A fun fact about this judge, I don't think I've shared this even with Justin. I credit him big time with me getting a job with Beth, because she had a trial in front of him. And so she knew I had done this round, and so she called him up in the middle of my interview and asked him what he thought about me. And
that's so funny.
Yeah. So mock trial does pay dividends outside of the mock trial round.
That's awesome.
In other words, there are certain factors that they have to meet. We have case law from the Supreme Court. The case name is...
Who has time to read the case law at Top Gun? Like,
this is not a Top Gun case. This is like Rahul's about to cite a real Supreme Court case, right?
Oh, yeah. Really? This wasn't, because sometimes they give you case law.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Rahul did like outside research, and Nick and I are like, we have not slept in 3 days. Like, what? Where does this guy find the time?
This would help finally have someone like a co-counsel, and so that's I would be remiss if I didn't point out that's Lorene Bouzmael, who's my co-counsel here, who I competed with in undergrad. So also she had just gotten into NYU law, so she wasn't a student at the time, but incredible competitor in her own right, and I know credit her a lot for our results in this tournament.
Like the citation, Your Honor?
I know it.
In that case, Your Honor, there were certain factors that were identified that a witness has to be able to meet.
There she is.
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Counselor. How are you? Will you take a seat right there? I've got to deal with these lawyers for a minute, okay? Thank you. Go ahead.
There are certain factors that a witness needs to be able to meet before they're qualified to testify under Rule 601. Specifically, they have to be able to communicate, they can't be susceptible to influence, and they have to be able to distinguish between reality and fantasy, truth and fiction. We also object under Rule 403. If I may make an offer of proof. We
Yes.
believe that this witness at the time of the robbery was 6 years old. In other words, at the time when she was in school, she was learning things like handwriting, how to read. We don't believe that this witness can make an accurate identification from 2 years ago when she was that age. Now, we're not faulting this witness. We think it's brave that she's here to testify, but she's also going to be cross-examined in a felony bank robbery case. Misspoke there, Your Honor.
It's okay. Someone else did that earlier today. That's all right.
Felony bank robbery case, and we don't believe that it's fair to her or fair to Mr. Hogan to hear this testimony.
Okay.
Maybe heard on that?
Sure.
Your Honor, first off, under Rule 601, which deals with the competency of witnesses, competency is presumed. And I'd also point the court's attention to 18 U.S.C. 3509, a federal statute that deals specifically with the competency of children, which again says that competency is presumed. You have to have a special competency hearing to show that somebody is not.
So it's presumed once you come out of the womb?
Your Honor, I
Pop there right there next to the nurse and you hear that crying, that baby's competent.
that can't be right, Your Honor.
No, right. I agree.
That was a really subtly great response by you, Ben. Because what are you going to say? I mean, most people's inclination would be to say, to sort of engage with him there, but just be like, yeah, that can't be right. And everyone laughs. It works in that spot.
And I am more than willing, ahead of bringing the jury back in here to examine Ms. Counsellor for a little bit in front of the court. I think I can demonstrate that she is more than capable of testifying. I had the chance to talk to her before trial. She's a very clever young woman.
There too.
I think
It's such a great offer by you, Ben, because one, I think you've got a great rapport with this witness that we're going to see in just a minute. And obviously the jury's not actually going to leave the room. So the offer here to do a competency hearing live, and if the judge grants it, to do more questioning, to show your rapport, I think is such a good response to one of the more complicated legal issues in this trial.
I liked that I would have made the same exact objection Rahul did. I would have done it the same exact way Rahul did. The value to me of being able to get to vouch for this witness when I knew how much the jury was going to like her was big, I think. Like the next thing out of my mouth is something like, I've talked to her before trial. She's a very clever young woman. I think the jury will see that as soon as she starts talking, or something like that. And it was like, oh, like we like this girl and this guy likes this girl, so we like this guy now.
Right.
the court will see that she's more than capable of handling this.
Your Honor, we have no objection
All
to
right,
hearing.
okay, so here we go. All right.
And Your Honor,
Counselor, I'm going to let these lawyers ask you some questions. Is that okay with you? Can you see me? I'll move over a little bit.
and Your Honor, if it's all right with the court, may I actually sit down so that I'm on eye level with Ms. Counselor?
No.
Oh, no.
That was a nice try.
Cool offer, though. I mean, that would have been
No.
awesome.
That was awesome.
Another judge gives it for sure.
I really thought he was going to let me do it. I started moving the podium because I basically thought it was assumed. And then he was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I was like,
I mean, I think another judge would have given it to you. I think it's
right? Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, just to see what's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
I probably would have. Did you talk about that with Ryan? Where'd that idea come from?
No. Maybe we did talk about that one. But no, look, my goal number one, once I found out that we were going to be putting her on, was just I just want to make her comfortable, because I think the testimony will flow much better if she feels like we have a little bit of rapport. And I don't know, I just felt like it would just make the conversation easier. It would be easier to just kind of treat it like a normal conversation rather than this alien thing to her.
All right, Ms. Counselor, do me a favor. Make sure let's pull that microphone down a little bit. Don't worry about there we go. Oh, it's not going to break. Don't worry about it.
And
can you talk right into it?
Half my job for me here, right? He's making her feel so at ease, which, makes my job significantly easier in this scenario.
Can you hear my voice right now?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. let's make sure we can hear your voice that way. Okay. Can you tell me your name?
Kate
You mean just, do you have a last name too?
Counsellor.
There we go. Okay. So just talk right into that microphone. You might want to lean up a little bit, and I promise you nobody's going to give you a hard time. Okay? Okay? You listening to me? Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Do you remember talking to me before trial?
Yes.
And do we talk out in the hallway?
Yes.
And do you remember that I told you you'd come in here and be talking to some people about what you saw in the bank?
Yes.
Now, I just need to make sure, Kate, do you know the difference between the truth and a lie?
Yes.
And what's the difference?
Truth is when you tell that what actually happened, and a lie is when you say that something that's not true.
Kate, do you know that it's wrong to tell lies?
I think a good competitor would have stopped at Ben's first question, can you tell the difference between a truth and a lie? And just an excellent competitor asks, what's the difference? Because you talk to her, she's smart, she's going to give a great answer, she's going to come off as likable. It shows a confidence in the witness that I think I would not have asked that question just out of fear of what the witness is going to say. That was
if I hadn't gotten to talk to her ahead of time, I wouldn't have either. Just because you're right, like that could go really wrong, right?
But it was such a cool moment.
How much of this did you rehearse with her, Ben?
None, because we didn't I didn't see the competency hearing thing coming, right? Like I thought we were just going to have the objection battle and the judge would decide one way or the other, and then she'd testify. I didn't know we were going to do this.
Right.
Yes.
And if the judge told you that you couldn't tell lies, would you listen to him?
Yes.
You wouldn't lie to these people in the jury, right?
Wait, they're not in here right now, remember?
You wouldn't lie to the jury if they were in here right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And I just need you to respond with a yes or no out loud.
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, I think we've demonstrated that the witness is
Do you
competent.
have any questions you
We
want?
withdraw our objection, Your Honor.
All right. Now let me.
No, is Lorraine just elbowing you, saying withdraw? Like, how do you?
Yeah, there's nothing we could have said at that point. I mean, I think we could have tried to reiterate the case law, but it just wasn't worth it. I mean, and she is so likable that I think you're just going to alienate the judges in the round if we tried to emphasize the point. I think we come off as mean or heartless, and doesn't give credit to her answers, which obviously the jury's not in there in a fictitious sense, but you've got real judges there, and you've got an awesome witness on the stand that they want to hear from. So I think it was a no-brainer from both of us to withdraw the objection.
Where are you in? Raise your right hand. Will you promise me to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Hi,
Jury's
Kate.
back in.
All right. Kate, how are you?
Good.
Can you please tell the members of the jury your full name?
Kate Counsellor.
And can you tell them how old you are?
I'm 8 years old.
Do you go to school, Kate?
Yes.
What grade?
I'm in second.
Can you tell us the name of your teacher?
Miss Jackson.
Do you like Miss Jackson?
Yes.
Kate, I want to talk to you about something you saw a little while back when you were in a bank with your mom. Do you remember ever going to Extra Co Bank with your mom?
Ben, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And do you remember seeing a man there?
Your question's about the teacher.
Yeah.
Was that planned? Was that something you came up with on the spot? It's so good.
I don't think so. Nick and I had talked about just finding a topic to kind of get her warmed up a little bit. And I don't know that we didn't rehearse that with her, but I think Nick, Ryan, and I had decided that something school adjacent was probably the thing she was going to be most
Right.
and equipped to talk about.
Dressed in a green and brown jacket.
Yes.
Do you know what that's called, that green and brown pattern?
Camo.
That question, every time you ask that question, Ben, I always get a little anxious for you, because it's the idea that she would know that green and brown is camo.
It's not a very good description by me. So yeah, kudos to her for pulling it out. Also, though, she is from Texas, She got
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. True. Never mind.
Yeah.
Do you remember what else he was wearing?
He was wearing a hat,
What kind of hat?
a beanie,
And what color was it?
black.
Did he have anything on his face?
He had a tattoo.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second, but on the front of his face, did he have anything?
Yes.
What was he wearing?
He was wearing glasses.
Okay. Now, you just told us that you saw a tattoo on this man. Where did you see that?
I saw it behind his ear.
Do you remember which ear, right or left?
It was his right.
Even that one too. Like I had to think about that for like 30 seconds before I'm like, yeah, it is the right ear in the picture that you guys go on the trial. But she was just like right ear. She didn't even think about it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Do you think if I showed you a picture of you and this man in the bank, you'd be able to show me which one's you and which one's him?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, may we put up there still?
Sure.
Now, Kate, I think you got a little screen right in front of you there if you want to look at that. Over by the microphone, Kate. Right there. Now, can you point out for the members of the jury where the robber is here, the man you saw with the coat? Your Honor, and let the record reflect the witnesses. Can Your Honor see that where she's pointing?
I can.
Your Honor, let the record reflect she is pointed to the man by the center island.
And if you want to come over and stand while they're doing it, it's fine with me. It's up to you.
We'll take your word for it, Your Honor. We don't want to crowd that area.
That's great.
And where are you, Kate?
Right here.
Where? Say it out loud.
Right here.
Okay, thanks.
And let the record reflect she's indicated where she was.
Okay.
And was it from that position, Kate, that you saw the tattoo behind the man's ear?
Yes.
How sure are you that he had a tattoo back there?
Sure.
And what was it a tattoo of?
A cross.
And what color was it, if you remember?
Blue.
Kate, if I showed you a picture of that tattoo, another picture, do you think you'd be able to tell us whether it was the same tattoo?
Yes.
Mr. Crown, will you put up Exhibit 50 for us? Kate, is that the same tattoo you saw on the man in the bank?
Yes.
Kate, you did a really great job today. Thank you so much for your time. I don't have any further questions for the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, now another lawyer's going to.
I mean, just awesome. One of the more iconic things that's happened in mock trial ever is that direct.
I mean,
awesome.
she was just so like, she made the job so easy, right? Like it was clear very early on that there was just like nothing I could ask her that she was not going to know how to respond to. And then you get to treat the witness basically like an adult, but with the benefits of it being a kid witness, right? Like there's nothing better than that. Yeah.
Right.
I think in fairness to you, Ben, knowing how to work with a witness like that and to ask the right questions and remain confident, remain likable is very, very difficult. And you did it incredibly well. Calling her by her first name, asking the questions about the teacher. I mean, those are just soft touches that, people may miss, but they play an integral role into building the jury's trust in you.
Thanks.
I just have a couple more questions before I mercifully let you guys get back to your jobs. So related to this year, obviously Ben wins this year, evens it at 1-1. As if you've said before, Ben, very fitting, I think, that you guys each get one. What adjustments did you both make year one to year two? How did you do it differently?
I know this is going to sound dumb, but like, I think the biggest adjustment actually was like, I just got more sleep. Like I thought going into that second final, like I'm ready to be a little less prepared than I was the first time and just like feel a little better because it really that weekend really does beat you down. And I, maybe definitely to a fault, like I'm an over prepare. Like I want to feel like I have thought through every possible permutation when I walk into a round. And I think that hurt me the first year we were both there. Cause like, I just feel like I burned the candle a little too much at both ends. And as a result was a little fried in that round. And so I made the strategic call to be a little less prepared and be a little fresher.
Yeah. I mean, going into the tournament, I think we didn't make a lot of strategic adjustments. I think yeah, I mean, I think maybe to a fault. I think we went in saying like, let's run the same plays that we did the year before. Going into this round for sure, though, I mean, I think we had competed against Ben and Ryan a few times, and we definitely had to think about what we liked about our theory and what we would throw out. I remember being concerned that we now had this new witness that we knew Ben was going to do a dynamite job with. So thinking about what our response to that would be was definitely a strategic consideration. And then what side to go again. I don't remember if this was a side where we had to go defense or if it was a coin toss, but I know we wanted to do defense again.
I'm pretty sure I got to pick Rahul and I picked prosecution.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Because you guys wanted to go defense and I wanted to go prosecution.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Did you make any adjustments for each other in year 2?
Say that again.
Did you make any adjustments, understanding you may play each other and having the benefit of seeing each other the year before?
I think going into the final, I knew this isn't really so much as of an adjustment, but like I just knew that I needed to be ahead significantly at halftime. Like I thought if I don't get significant distance with my opening and my directs, which I think are probably my 2 strongest elements, I just don't have a chance. Like I need to be up big at halftime, and if I'm not, I'm not going to have a chance in the end.
Well, Rahul, I want to hear what adjustments you made for Ben and for your final.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, same. We had a similar idea that cross and closing are probably the areas that I do better than opening and direct. So I think we wanted to maximize cross and closing, and then like you said earlier, Phil, our round the year before was cleaner, and I think I like objecting, and it's a part I enjoy. So we definitely wanted to object more in this round too. Whether that worked or not as a strategy, I'm still not sure of, but I think is definitely something we aim to do more in round 2 than we did, or in year 2 than we did in year 1.
It's just funner for both of us that way too.
Yeah. Keeps you on your toes.
The 2015 final has 30,000 views, which is close to the top in terms of mock trial rounds. The 2016 final has 10,000 views. Ben, does that make you insecure?
Brutal, man. Come on. Like,
it's all my mom. I'm sure it's all the 2015 views.
It doesn't make me insecure. It's just like, damn, now like 3 times as many people have seen Rahul beat me as have seen me beat Rahul. Like, come on. That's
yeah, I think mine only has like 7, so don't feel that bad. But these rounds are iconic, and I think if you asked, I asked this question a lot on the show to current competitors or recent grads, what their favorite round ever is, and almost everyone mentions these 2 finals. How aware of that are you guys? How proud of that are you guys? That these are sort of like the standing the test of time and are teaching tools for new competitors and experienced competitors alike.
I mean, that's really cool to hear. And I suspect that part of why people like these rounds so much is like we all do this because it's fun. And like, I think you can feel the joy kind of flowing off of both Rahul and I in these rounds. Like it's an awesome tournament because of the effort they put in and like getting witnesses like Kate and the case they write and the fact that you have a short timeline to prepare. And when you stack all that on top of Rahul and I getting to compete against each other and knowing each other so well and having competed against each other so many times, like it was the perfect storm of mock trial elements to make this as fun a round as a mock trial round can be. And I hope that maybe why people like it is that comes across is that Rahul and I are like just having the time of our lives up there doing it.
Yeah, it's incredibly flattering. I think I look back very fondly to both Top Gun experiences, and the fact that other people enjoy watching the rounds means a lot for sure. I hope there are lessons to be learned from me and Ben from these rounds. But I'll caution, our styles are unique or we do well with our styles, I think, because we feel comfortable in it, and people should definitely experiment, but we are by no means the yardstick in these 2 rounds.
We watched you in college. We watched you in law school. Which did you like better, law school or college? And you can't give a cop-out answer and say they're both good. You have to pick one. So I'm going to hold you to an actual answer.
I think I think I liked college better, but not the actual mock trial part of it. Like I just loved the team environment in college. And like, look, I love my law school teammates like JJ, Hank, Ben Graham, Nick Crown. Those are include some of my best friends on earth to this day. But like, you can't replicate the team environment of AMTA. Like those 4 years are something I will treasure forever. I'm still incredibly close to so many of those people. Marcy Coburn, who was my teammate, was in my wedding. Like, I love those people and always will. And so, for that reason, I think College Mock Trial will always have a special place in my heart.
But in terms of the actual round, you say that's what I'm hearing.
Thanks for. I just gave an incredibly heartfelt answer.
We're trying to break news on this show. We don't want heartfelt. No, that's a good. I think that's actually the best answer you can give. I think I agree with that. I like law school better, but I definitely enjoyed my experience with Ellie and Andrew, in terms of like the team bonding part of it. There were I met my fiance on my law school team. I probably shouldn't say that too loudly. She can't hear me. It's okay. But yeah, she was my second year. So I didn't get to take Ellie. So then I got to take Jess.
Oh, and now you're getting married. So that seems like
yeah, it worked out pretty well. Rahul, what did you like better?
I'll first say that the experience, college, for the same reasons Ben said. I think some of my closest friendships come from the college experience and just getting to travel with people you spend so much time with, you practice with. I think is unrivaled. But as far as performances, I think I came into my own a little more in law school. So watching it back, the two talk gun rounds, I think I like better, and I think they more closely mirror my style now.
When I have people on the show, I always ask them the same last question, which is, and you can't, again, no cop outs. You actually have to answer, which is, who is the greatest competitor of all time? And most times, they say a lot of the time they say one of you guys. And so the rules are as follows: you may not say each other.
Darn, yeah.
You may not give a cop out answer, and your answer must be one name.
Yeah.
So I've bought you sufficient time to think.
So there are a bunch of people that I never saw, and so I feel like like people I could name, but I just never competed against them or watched them. Other than Rahul, the person I competed against that I was most blown away by was Gus Lazarus. I don't know if that's a name that AMTA folks will be familiar with.
Of course.
That dude was unbelievable. He had this sort of quiet charisma and confidence about him that was just absolutely infectious. And he was so quick on his feet. It's tough to sometimes people that are that quick on their feet seem like they're sort of know-it-alls. They're trying to point out little stuff you're doing wrong. And Gus, even with witnesses he was crossing, was like, oh no, I'm just trying to help you. I think what you actually meant was this. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, that is actually what I meant. He would Jedi mind trick witnesses into agreeing with him in a way that I've never seen anybody else do it. And he was competing in law school the same time we were, and was also awesome in law school. Really, he's just absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what he's up to today, but I'm sure he is in real courtrooms, doing as well as he was back then. He's just awesome.
We'll have to get him on the show.
Truly, he's great.
Rahul, your answer. You've now had 2 minutes to think about that. Ben gave you a nice long answer to buy.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a name, and then as Ben was gone, I started thinking about all these other competitors that I saw. I never competed against him, but the person that I think, at least one of the names that rises to the top, is Joe Resnick, who is just incredible, super charismatic, very likable. I watched him compete and never played against him. I remember watching him in the Nationals final round my freshman year of college in Memphis. And he was just so standout in that round. I think it was, especially that early in my mock trial career, to see a performance like that was left an impression.
And that's another, like Rahul said, our styles work for us. I don't know that anybody else can do what Joe does. But what Joe does that everybody can do is like be authentically himself and like the maximum version of himself. And it's just so cool to watch.
Yeah. Those are great answers. And it's nice to have other names in this conversation, because every person on the show says the same people, and they're two of the people on this call. So it's nice to get some variety in the conversation. So when Justin came to Drexel, one of the first things that I asked to do with him was, I really want to sit down and watch Top Gun with you and like talk about it together and pause it and talk about things. And what are you seeing here? What's the story behind this? And I'd always joke with him, like, this would be like a really awesome like show, like to do this and to like record it and put it out. And we joked about it. It was like, and about a year or two ago, he said to me, like, you should actually start doing this. You're working at Drexel. It's a nice recruitment tool, and it exposes the law school, and it's fun. And this was sort of this episode was sort of the inspiration for the show. And so thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for all the hours of footage that are inspiring current competitors and future competitors for years. And I had a lot of fun, and I'm sure people are going to have a ton of fun watching this.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun doing this. And Phil, thank you this is such a nice service for the mock trial community. Thank you for doing it, and thank you for having us on.
Yeah, this was a really good time, Phil. Thanks for organizing it and pestering us, make sure we actually made it happen. So